Okay, boxing fans, so Amir Khan beat Luis Collazo by a lopsided unanimous decision in a fight where Collazo was basically out of the fight totally. This fight was basically a total shutout to Khan. I was one of the very few people to come out on record and say Khan wins this fight on points. And even I expected, nervy moments, a close fight maybe, like a 1-1-6, 1-1-2 type fight, but nah, that wasn't the case. Fight ended 119, 104. I was on two cards. The other one was a bit closer, I think. And Collazo ended up going down in the fourth off a good right hand, twice in the 10th from body shots. And in the 10th, to be honest, Collazo was so close to being stopped, and he looked like he didn't want to be there anymore. It was not a great fight from Collazo. But when you break the fight down, Collazo really did fight a stupid fight. I mean, in the first 2 rounds, he tried to box, had small pressure, but then he realised he was having issues with the speed of Khan. And, instead of, going to a plan B or plan C or doing anything like that, he basically become a headhunter looking for just one big punch. And I don't know what happened there, because somewhere he decided to morph into this big punching headhunter, and he's never been that. So my theory is, somewhere down the line over the last 5 months, he heard people say the second he lands on Amir Khan's chin, the fight is over, he's too strong for Khan, he's got this amazing power after the KO of Victor Ortiz. And the end result, when he tried to put that in the ring, was he totally abandoned his boxing, believed his own hype, and just tried to headhunt. He got himself wound up in almost every round by, I don't even know, because it didn't look like they were talking shit to each other, and he barely landed a punch throughout the whole fight. To sum it all up, you might say he fucking sucked. Positives for Khan, if you want to understand any of them. Khan showed that he can follow a game plan, which he's never been able to do before. His defence has significantly improved. He's significantly improved his inside game. I mean, that's another thing. He was able to clinch effectively, and he was able to beat up Collazo on the inside, which we didn't expect, and I definitely did not expect that. He's shown actual head movement, not something we usually see Amir Khan doing, and his body shots seem very dangerous, but I think that's always been the case. Also, the time off from boxing has done him the world of good. Positives for Collazo, well, I guess he survived the fight. That's all I've got for you. We're going to bring in a few of the guys. We're going to start with Rory Paddock from Picks from the Paddock. What did you make of the fight, mate? What did you make of Khan's performance?
Yeah, no, it's definitely one of the better performances he's put in the boxing ring. I think step up to 147's a massive plus for Khan. Looking at how he fared in a fight against Maidana at 140, there was a few question marks about sort of, glass jaw, but if people seem to kind of forget that, well, through all that, there was this sort of stigma around Khan, and that, he's been put down a few times. He's certainly not the same fighter as he was, say, when he fought Breeders Prescott years ago now. He stuck to a game plan like you mentioned. He did everything he needed to do, and I think not only that, I think people aren't giving him the credit for it. I'd even go as far as to say that that's not the best Khan that he could probably achieve either. I think he was probably in that fight 3rd gear. Don't think he's given us everything he could do. And like you mentioned as well, Collazo could have been stopped late on. A prime Ricky Hatton couldn't stop Collazo. So, I think you just got to give him props, really. You've mentioned that a lot of people are kind of down on his performance, but he went in there, did what he had to do, got the job done, nearly stopped the guy. What more do you want?
That's a very good point. I mean, some people will always be down on Khan, I've got a feeling, no matter what he does. Even if, say, he comes out in his next fight and beats Mayweather, they'll be like, he's shit! But who knows? I mean, we'll move on to the next question I've got for you. What did you reckon about Collazo's game plan, or lack of?
Oh, very one-dimensional. I think you touched upon it before. I think a lot of people looked at Khan's previous performances at a lower weight class and thought, right, all you have to do is land with one right hand square on his jaw and he's out there. But my downer, who's, let's be honest, after his performance against Mayweather, is a tough, durable fighter. He threw everything in the kitchen sink at Khan, and Khan still got the job done, albeit it wasn't Khan's most impressive performance. So a Collazo who doesn't have that good a KO ratio, yeah, I think he believed about a lot of what people were kind of whispering in his ear, really.
I reckon that's the case too. I mean, I can't think of any other reason why he just decides to abandon his boxing and become this one-punch slugger type of guy. Is this fight, Rory, is this achievement better than anything Kell Brook has ever done? I thought I'd throw this one in there.
It's a tough one because I think it's one of the best fights Khan's ever had. But again, without sounding like a bit of a downer as well on Khan now, but you look at who he's beat. Collazo's probably one of the biggest names on his record is a Victor Ortiz, and let's be honest, he's a shell of what he promised as well. But at the same time, you look at Kell Brook, and he's got his most marquee name on Senchenko. So yeah, if you weigh up the two, I'd say yeah, Khan by a pretty wide margin.
I reckon so too. So, like we touched on before, it seems like Khan's getting a lot of stick from people saying that they didn't like how he fought, they didn't rate him that highly, he didn't fight that well. What do you make of that? Do you think that's just bullshit?
Yeah, in a word. Look at the judges' scorecards, and that's all you need to know. Every single round, he put the guy on his arse 3 times, nearly got him out of there. What more do people want?
Exactly, I don't know. I really don't know. So, where do you see Amir Khan going next? What's his next move, next fight?
I would fancy his chances against Mayweather, especially how poor Mayweather was in his last fight now. Do I think he'd win? That's probably a question for another time. It's been muted, but obviously they said in the press that it looks like Mayweather wants to fight again in September, but Khan isn't going to have that fight, and obviously due to Ramadan. I mean, I'd say just perhaps 1 or 2 more fights at welterweight before he takes on one of the big boys. I mean, I'd probably let him take on any one of the marquee names, probably someone like Tim Bradley, someone that's just beneath the likes of Mayweather, Pacquiao, and that sort of ilk.
Maybe. Yeah, I will get some other people's thoughts on that, but what would you do with Collazo right now? Come on, you're matchmaker, where'd you send Collazo?
Oh God, I mean, you're looking at he's obviously going to stay at 147. That's where he's always been. He's not going to change in weight any time. Without discrediting Collazo, he's a world champion, former world champion. I think he's just going to be one of those sort of guys that anyone with any sort of inclination to moving up to a higher level is just going to be a stepping stone now. I don't think he's going to sort of be any sort of contender. He's going to be the likes of a Keith Thurman tune-up fight, or even a Sean Porter tune-up fight. And I think that's the best he can kind of hope for, really.
Maybe, yeah, they're both good fights. So I'm going to let you go for a minute, and then we're going to bring in some of the other guys. We're going to bring in Paul next. Thanks for being with us, Rory, from Pigs from the Paddock. All of his details will be in the comment section. So, Paul, are you with us?
I am.
What did you make of Khan's performance?
I was really, really impressed. I picked Collazo to win this fight beforehand because, as you guys said, a lot of people bought into Collazo's, hype, or what little hype he had because of that good win over Ortiz. And I picked Collazo to knock Khan out because I thought as soon as Khan got hit, he'd just crumble. But he proved me wrong, and I can only take my hat off to him. Amir Khan showed that there's life left in his career, that he's done a lot to shut his critics up, and that's all you can say. Amir Khan, he won convincingly. He came very, very close to knocking Collazo out, which not many people have ever done. Ricky Hatton certainly didn't come anywhere close to knocking Collazo out, and that was when Ricky Hatton was in his prime. So, well done, Amir Khan. He set himself up for some fantastic fights.
Yeah, I mean that is the case. So, what did you make of Collazo's game plan, or total lack of?
I was disappointed with that, to be honest. As you said, I think he just went into the fight thinking, all I've got to do is hit Khan clean, and then I can go home, sort of thing. He didn't attempt to box Khan at all. He didn't try and adapt when it became obvious that he wasn't just going to be able to hit Khan easily. He made it was like after the halfway point when it was clear that he was way behind. For me, it looked like he almost stopped trying in a sort of way. Like he didn't quit or anything like that, but he clearly made no effort to try and change anything. He made no effort to try and make things difficult for Khan. It was like he was just waiting for the final bell, or he was complaining to the referee about nonsense stuff, saying Khan was fouling when he clearly wasn't fouling. So I'm really disappointed with Collazo, and I think that could be his last chance of the big time gone now.
Yeah, I agree with that pretty much. So, how highly do you rate this performance and victory compared to Kell Brook's recent performances and victories?
Well, again, a lot of people like to talk about Kell Brook and Amir Khan in the same breath, and I think based on their records and their achievements, you shouldn't do, because Amir Khan has clearly achieved far more in his career than Kell Brook has to this point. And Collazo is, in my opinion, better than anyone Kell Brook's ever fought. For me, that was Amir Khan's best performance since he beat Zach Judah a couple of years ago, or since he beat Katana. And I don't think that Kell Brook has ever put on a performance like any of those fights. So, Kell Brook's fans can keep, saying, "Oh, Amir Khan's scared to fight, and Amir Khan should accept this offer from Eddie Hearn and come and fight Kell Brook in the UK." But that's nonsense talk now. It's nonsense. Amir Khan is a big name in America. He's just opened up a load of new options for himself. He's probably going to fight Mayweather, or if he doesn't fight Mayweather, he'll fight some other big name Golden Boy fighter. Whereas Kell Brook's still on the outside looking in.
Yeah, that's.
So to sum up, I basically see no reason for Amir Khan to even think about fighting Kell Brook. To sum up.
Yeah, I guess so. So here's the next question. It seems that Amir Khan's been taking a lot of stick from people saying they didn't like how he fought, stuff like that. What did you make of people saying stuff like this?
Again, I think it's just Amir Khan's haters looking for a reason to hate him. There's a large amount of fans that he's never going to win over because they don't like him for one reason or another. And a lot of the criticism we have of him is fair, but a lot of it's unfair. And I think the criticism coming from this fight is unfair. He absolutely dominated the guy, barely lost the round, didn't fight dirty, in my opinion. I don't see what people are angry about.
Yeah, I mean,
Ricky.
Yeah, I want to touch on that too. People who said he didn't like his tactics in this fight, they've got people who use the same tactics, like, let's say Andre Ward likes a clinch, likes a wrestle. They've got him, pound for pound, number 2.
Exactly.
People who have just been saying Bernard Hopkins is one of the greatest fighters of all time. Are you telling me that he doesn't do the same stuff Amir Khan did in that fight?
If Amir Khan took a sweet on the pick and mix, people would say he was a shoplifter. That's just the way it is with some people. They're never going to like Amir Khan for whatever reason.
So here's another one, a spare the moment question, right? Would you say everybody who Amir Khan fights gains a significant amount of fans?
Yes, without a doubt.
And then afterwards the fans decrease.
Before Paul McCluskey fought Amir Khan, his only fans were in Ireland, and then for that fight, a lot of people wanted him to win. Then when he fought horribly, everyone abandoned him. Then when he fought Danny Garcia, not many people knew who Danny Garcia was going into the fight, and he suddenly gained a load of new fans after he won and knocked Khan out. Then, what's his face? Julio Diaz was on the run. No one knew who Julio Diaz was going into the fight. And I think the fight was in Sheffield, wasn't it? And I think the crowd were on Julio Diaz's side, from what I remember. who else he has for me. I had no idea who he was. And now going into this fight, Collazo hadn't been relevant for 7 years. Then he knocks out Victor Ortiz. And I'm guilty of this. I predicted Collazo would beat Amir Khan based on the Ortiz win. Shows I'm very short-sighted. And again, Collazo was suddenly the fan favourite. And now that Amir Khan has basically just beat him up and showed him up as an old man, everyone's just going to make out like Collazo was no good. It just seems like Khan can never win anyone round.
Well, he won me round today. He won me round. I thought he was going to win anyway, but I didn't see anything like that. So you're a matchmaker now. Where do you put Amir Khan next?
If he can't get Floyd Mayweather before the end of the year, then I'd like to see him maybe have a rematch with Maidana. If Maidana doesn't fight Mayweather again, I wouldn't mind to see that fight. Or maybe even Devon Alexander, because Devon Alexander's coming off the loss to Sean Porter. He needs a big win, a big fight to get himself back into relevance. And it would be another good name on Khan's resume while he waits around for Mayweather.
Yeah, that's another fighter whose fan base shot up when he was linked with a fight with Amir Khan, funnily enough. So you're now the matchmaker of Luis Collazo. Where'd you put him?
Again, Collazo, I think Rory got it right. I think Collazo's shot at big time's gone now. He's just going to be a gatekeeper for the rest of his career, I see. And maybe Golden Boy might match him against an up-and-coming prospect. Or, Joe, wouldn't surprise me. I was thinking of this today. It would not surprise me if Kell Brook, for whatever reason, doesn't fight Sean Porter and Eddie Hearn gets Collazo over Kell Brook. That really wouldn't surprise me. And I think Collazo might even do it as well, because he'd probably get a good payday.
Very possible, yeah. That is very possible. So, I'm going to leave it there with you, Paul, and we're going to bring in No Holds Barred Boxing. So, Ryan, you there?
Yep.
Brilliant. So, do tell, pal, what did you make of Khan's performance?
Yeah, I thought he was brilliant. I thought it was going to be the fight of the night, which everyone on my Facebook page thought, everybody I spoke to thought, I think we all thought it as well. I thought that was going to be the most competitive fight of the night, and it turned out it wasn't remotely competitive. I'm not sure if Collazo landed anything significant at all. It certainly didn't hurt Khan at any moment. He completely got dominated. I mean, the judges' scorecards reflected that, and I think the corner probably should have pulled him out at the end of the 10th there, where I thought it was obvious that he didn't want any more. He'd already taken about 500 punches in the fight, and then at the end of the 10th round he goes down twice, clearly hurt from the accumulation of body shots and what have you, and he got up and he clearly didn't want to be in there. He was backing up on the ropes and going like, come on, hit me. But it didn't look like he was sort of up for the fight. He just looked like he was just trying to sort of get some credibility back, because I mean he was really hurt inside, emotionally, because he knew he had just taken the worst beating of his career. So he was probably a bit embarrassed.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point actually, because like you said, he probably went in there, I think, thinking all I've got to do is land a punch, and he ends up taking the worst ass kicking of his career.
Yeah,
maybe a bar one.
Yeah, and at one moment in that fight, it did look like he was just looking for one punch. And by that 10th round, I think he'd become so frustrated that he hadn't even come close to landing a good punch, that he showed his frustrations by, first of all, getting knocked down, which was because he was in pain, and then by getting up, and he showed his frustrations by, saying, come on, hit me. But really, I think that was a call to say, pull me out of here, this is embarrassing.
Yeah, so do you think if the referee pulled him out then and went, nah mate, you're not even in the fight, it's over, no need, he could have then moaned to the ref and said, yeah, it's a bad start.
Yeah, of course he would, yeah. As soon as he got pulled out, he would have gone, man, this is bullshit. But secretly, he would have been thinking, oh, thank fuck for that. Because he would have gone home and gone, oh, that was the most embarrassing fight I've ever been in.
Yeah, so we'll hit on that. What did you reckon about Collazo's lack of game plan?
I think that his team probably worked on a really good game plan, and they probably thought it would work. Like, they probably told him all, the last 3 months, just time your punches, counter punch cleverly. He's got these flaws. This is where he leaves his hands open, blah, blah. This is all you've got to do is just land this punch. He's a nobody. He's got no chin. And it didn't work at all. Maybe his power is slightly overrated. I don't know. I mean, I'm somebody who always says, you've always got a puncher's chance against Khan because his chin has been proven on several occasions to not be very sturdy. But, it's not as easy as that because you still got to land clean. And Amir Khan's one of the fastest boxers in the world, so he doesn't let you land clean very often. I mean, he even withstood Marcus Maidana, and we all know that Marcus Maidana has floored just about every single one of his opponents. So his chin isn't as bad as some people think, and it's definitely not very good either.
Yeah. So just like I asked Paul, how do you rate this performance against anything Kell Brook has ever done? As I'm sure Kell Brook fans have a lot to say.
Well, I'm a big fan of Kell Brook, but he hasn't beaten anyone even close to the level that Amir Khan has beaten. I mean, they've had approximately the same amount of fights, I think, about 30-something, yet Amir Khan has been fighting world champions now for yonks, whereas Kell Brook has, his best opponent to date was probably Carson Jones, and even then he needed a rematch with him just to show that he actually... that he could actually beat him, and that says something, doesn't it? I mean, maybe Semchenko was his best opponent because Semchenko had beaten Ricky Hatton, but even Semchenko is really only a European level fighter. So Kell Brook has not beaten anybody even remotely close to Kell Brook's level. So. In a fight between the two, though, that means nothing, because in a fight between them, you're going on skill, you're not going on record. And skill versus skill, Kell Brook might have enough to beat him, but in terms of record, Amir Khan's record is infinitely better.
So it seems that Amir Khan got a lot of stick from people recently, saying they didn't like how he fought, he wasn't that good in the fight. What do you make of that? Is that just bullshit, or do people have a point?
That's just that's just fans not liking Amir Khan. But I'm not one of these people who actually gives a shit about that sort of thing, because I think that happens in every sport, doesn't it? In soccer, like football, for American fans, soccer. In football, how many fans hate an opposing team just because they're told to hate them? Manchester United hate Manchester City, Barcelona hate Real Madrid. That's just the way it goes, and that's just fans of that sport. And in American football, I don't know, New York Giants versus the fucking Cincinnati Tosspots, I don't know what they're called. Yeah, I imagine that they all hate each other as well. And so why would it be any different in boxing? Some people, I imagine that some of the people who hate Amir Khan probably don't like Bolton Football Club. So I think a lot of it is just sports fans. Sports fans have to have a reason to, hate an opponent or whatever. And, some take Amir Khan, some take Floyd Mayweather, some take Manny Pacquiao, some hate Cole Froch. So, whatever. I just go by, what I think of the boxer in the ring, and that's it.
Yeah, I've heard some people say that if this was a 15-round fight, Khan would have got stopped. And I was thinking, where did you get that from? There's only one person who was ever likely to get stopped in that fight.
Yeah, if it was a 15-round fight, he would have definitely been pulled out at the 10th round. I don't think he would have got up after that second knockdown. It was only because the ending was in sight, that he got up. I'm not saying that he's ever quit in the ring before or anything like that, but he had just taken the beating of his life. If he really thought that there was another 5 rounds to go, that's 15 minutes. That's a time for another 200 punches. He would have just stayed down. So
either way, the more likely person who would have been spending the night in a hospital was Collazo anyway. And he probably did spend the night in the hospital, so the amount of punches he took to the face, clean punches. Yeah. Other people say they didn't like his tactical clinching and stuff like that, but once again, they love Andre Ward. He doesn't get the credit he deserves. La la la. Funny how they say that, isn't it? And Bernard Hopkins, everyone loves him nowadays. Yeah. But, they don't like it when he does it. Funny. So go on, you're now the matchmaker of Amir Khan. Who does he fight next?
Amir Khan. I would say Floyd Mayweather. I think he deserves a fight. I didn't think he deserved a fight before this victory. I don't think he deserved a fight with Floyd Mayweather. In fact, even now, I think he would be lucky to get the fight. It would be, that would be a lucky thing for him. Because I mean, if you think about it, he's only beaten, Garcia, Molina. He beat Diaz, Molina, Diaz, and now Collazo, who are all good fighters, but none of them are elite. So if he got a fight with Floyd Mayweather off of those, I think that would be unlucky. I mean, if we were to make every boxer deserve their shot at a pound for pound star, he should have to rematch somebody like Maidana. Make him rematch Maidana, and if he beats Maidana, then he gets a well-deserved fight against Mayweather, or make him fight Sean Porter, which has been rumoured, and then that will definitely allow him a fight at Mayweather. So, I've complained before in the past about fighters getting too many title opportunities on the back of their name. So so in that case, make him earn the right, and that means fighting Maidana, Porter, Matisse, something like that. Make him do that. Or Danny Garcia rematch. There you go. Any of those fights.
Yeah, okay. So now you're the matchmaker of Collazo. Where does he go from here? This is the harder one, obviously.
I don't know. Like, was there any talk of retirement afterwards or not?
Not that I
Alright,
know.
well, okay, well then in that case, he'll need a good fight to come back from. He's got a good chin, so it's not as if he's ever been in any great deal of trouble in the last few years. So I would give him something like Devin Alexander, who's also coming off of a loss. So Devin Alexander, that would be a good fight for him. I don't think it would be a very exciting fight, but it'll be a good name. Or Lamont Peterson, he's another one who needs to get back out there. Something like that. Maybe even Luis Abregu, although I think he's with Top Rank. So
yeah.
Something like that. Peterson or Alexander.
Okay. I mean, I'll just give you, I think, you see, everybody says that Amir Khan probably needs another fight, and, I think the days of you earning your shot have been and gone. I mean, Malik Scott getting a fight with Deontay Wilder, there's another guy who obviously deserved the shot, and Deontay Wilder going on to being mandatory for the world title of what, exactly? I don't think Khan needs another fight before he fights Mayweather, because nobody else seems to. That's how I look at it. If I was having to match him with somebody else, I would say Khan fight Devin Alexander. Devin Alexander's in the Who Needs Me club. He'll have to, jump at the chance to fight him. And if Devin was to win, he could, gate crash the Mayweather party, and then that'll be that. But I doubt Devin Alexander would win. I've never thought much of him, and I wasn't surprised when he lost to Sean Porter. Now, as for Luis Collazo, I've got the perfect match for Luis Collazo, and I'm surprised nobody at all has touched on it. I don't like the idea of Maidana going back into a rematch with Floyd Mayweather straight away, coming off a loss, going straight back in. I don't like the sound of that. I think Floyd Mayweather fights somebody in the near future. Let's say if it's in November or somewhere else. Let's say he fights Khan, or if not Khan, he fights Danny Garcia. Let's say he fights Danny Garcia then, yeah? So Mayweather Garcia, and on the undercard is Maidana versus Collazo. Just as a keep busy fight for him. That's what I'm thinking for Collazo. And then if he wins that, he's back in with a shout, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, good point.
But that's what I'm thinking. Overall, we're just gonna sum it all up here. I think that Khan fought not a fruitless fight. It wasn't punch perfect. Obviously, didn't stop him. His stamina was going at the end. But this is a guy who's been out the ring for a year. You got to expect him. In the 12th round, he's going to be gassed or something. But he done really well. He stuck to a game plan. He beat the fuck out of Collazo for the majority of the rounds, and Collazo looked extremely ordinary and extremely old overnight. But that's what that was. Tell me what you think, and thanks for listening, guys.